Hey, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Steve. Welcome back to the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, the finest phototainment in the world. We are an irreverent look at photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover.
Dun, dun,
Dustin, my man, McKibben.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
This is our special Thanksgiving episode right here. Dustin.
Turkey Day.
We have to come together. We all have to unite. We have to
break bread.
Save ourselves from the harsh, cold winter in front of us.
Some of us might be breaking gluten-free bread.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Dustin, the people wants to know, the people gots to know, what are we thankful for? Dustin, do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Oh, Stephen, like all years, every years, I am thankful for the sweet, sweet listeners who have endured years upon years, days upon days of listening to you and I and some magical special guests we've had on this show, and have stuck with us, Stephen. Have, rode the roller coaster of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. That is what I am always and forever the most thankful for.
I hear you. For me, the thing I'm most thankful for is my loving wife and all the support that she gives us. She's the best, most greatest thing in the world. I'm just gonna say it. That's just how I feel, bud. That's how I feel. And I don't think I'd be able to do any of this if it weren't for her supporting me and us and this podcast, which I am surprised by every day, especially when she listens to episodes and she's still like, I think you and Dustin are doing a good thing here. And I'm like, oh, babe, I love you so much. I don't know why you think that. But I mean, that's really the least of all things that I'm thankful for with her. But, oh man, I gotta say, like, this last year has just been crazy, figuring out a lot of stuff with our business, figuring out a lot of stuff with being parents to two kids who are both like, one's in school, one's in preschool, and waking up like an hour earlier, and just life is getting harder every single year. And every single year Jen just continues to surprise me with the way she finds to solve the problems that come up in our lives, and with the way she keeps loving me inexplicably. I don't know why. Explicitly, she loves me. She loves me explicitly. Yes. Yeah, and we won't be talking about that on the podcast because we are family friendly here. But yes, that love is both inexplicit and explicit, as I would hope any good relationship would be.
That's true,
with two consenting adults.
Or nope. Yep.
Just with consent. You wanted to disagree so hard. So if we can be real for a second, I think the thing I'd next be most thankful for after my wife and my sweet baby children, which I didn't mention earlier. I probably should have. Ian, or if you listen to this in the future, I love you very much. I would say, double up on what Dustin said, our listeners. Good listeners. Mm-hmm. Every single week, you guys make me so freaking happy. In the Facebook group, on Instagram, on Twitter, you guys send so many incredibly great messages. I'd just like to highlight one super great message we received.
Would you now?
Yeah, I think I would. Just a message I'm really thankful that we received.
Technically, I received it. Technically, I received the message.
Dustin, do you know what message I'm referring to?
Oh, of course.
Tanner Kapari left us a review on Facebook, and it says, definitely my favorite podcast. And then Dustin, in a fit of insanity, I assume, decided to respond to people. You've actually been responding to a lot of people the last week. How bored are you now that the mayoral campaign is done? You've been responding to people on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, maybe not Twitter. No, probably not Twitter. Instagram, Facebook, those two. And you said, thank you, Tanner. But the real test is, who do you like better?
And I wasn't even inferring that it had to be Steven or I.
It could have been
who?
It could have been Tanner's significant other. It could have been a cat. It could have been a dog. It could have been a donkey. We don't know. Yeah. You know, who
could
does?
Been, does he like iTunes or Stitcher?
Mm-hmm. And how did Tanner respond to that, Dustin?
I don't have my computer screen is blocking Facebook right now.
The thing I was most thankful for was Tanner just shot right back. Oh man, you can't put me on the spot like that. LOL, just kidding, Steve, for sure. And all I could think was, it serves you right, Dustin. Why would you ask that question?
I just felt like I needed to give some positive encouragement to Steve, because Steve, who I am so thankful for, works tirelessly on this podcast, guys, to be able to bring you the best show possible, with all of the editing, all of the show note writing, all of the lubrication he provides for the show so that the gears keep moving.
Oh, those two. Yeah. The lubrication for electronics too. That, yeah. Both lubrications I provide for the show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep. But yes, so Tanner, I felt no disrespect in your man love for, I assume Tanner's a man. Could be a female, I don't know.
Tanner's male.
Okay. But love Steven Van Elk. It's okay to love him. I love him. That's why I'm doing a podcast with him.
Yeah. I mean, I love Dustin. That's why I'm doing a podcast with him. I'm thankful for Dustin every single day.
I mean, Steven's my favorite podcast host on this show.
Jen's mine, but
oh, Tanner. So you are allowed to still feel awkward, and I will still compete tirelessly to win you over, Tanner.
Yeah. What you got in the works? How are you going to compete? What are you going to do to win Tanner over? Let's lay it out here. Come on the Thanksgiving episode. Drop it like it's hot.
Well, I'm not a positive individual, Steven. I kind of like to fight underhanded. So probably what I'll do is I'll set up a fake Steven Van Elk Instagram account where I will troll Tanner, and then I will ridicule his posts under the Steven Van Elk Instagram account.
Yeah, you should totally do that, because the first step towards getting verified on Instagram, if you don't work for a news organization where you're like automatically verified, like with Instagram and Twitter, is to be able to prove to Instagram that there are people trying to impersonate you. So if you could go ahead and just start impersonating me, that'd be great. And then I could get verified, and then I'd have a blue check mark next to my name, and people would be like, holy crap, this dude is for real. He's not just some a-hole I listen to on a podcast. I can trust this guy. I'd be so thankful if you did that. That's not the third thing I'm thankful for, but, just throwing that out there.
Probably my plan. Tanner, watch out.
I am super, super thankful for this community, though. You guys continuously make me laugh, especially in the Facebook group. Like, if I could just plug our Facebook group, if you're not in the Wedding Hangover Facebook group, you should really jump in that. There's so many ruthless, savage people in there. But, like, in a fun, cute way that makes you laugh and gives you a smile.
I mean, these questions don't write themselves.
Well, the questions from our very own Facebook group don't write themselves. The questions from the random Facebook groups, I feel like a computer algorithm might be able to come up with some of them. The ones that don't seem to have a good grasp on English, for the most part. Dustin, what else are you thankful for?
Well, let's see. I've done the listeners. I've done you. And my third would always and forever be my beautiful, loving, supportive wife. I have to piggyback on what Steve said. Without her, nothing would be possible. She is sort of the support system behind all of these crazy endeavors I partake on. She made working for the mayor possible this year by kind of keeping up with all of our household things. And unlike Steven, my wife doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can purely thank her out of my own, desires. And she will never hear this. So
It's okay. Jen's like 10 episodes behind. She's not going to hear this until it's too late.
Wow, she's about at the same point I am at.
Not listening
my
to the
wife-
podcast?
My wife is the backbone of this family. She keeps everything running smooth, and love her to death for it.
Yeah.
Until she gives me another child, and then everything will be shot to hell again.
I mean, gives you another child? Like, that's not something you're both creating together, and then she's carrying and birthing on her own for the most part. I feel like the gift of child is... That's mostly with the woman, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's mostly the carrier.
Yep. You trying to sync the audio?
No, there's a fly in my freaking house. How is there a fly in my house?
Oh,
It's a fruit
the
fly,
new-
too. It's like from a banana or some shit.
It's that new DJI micro drone.
Oh my gosh, I just smashed a DJI micro drone.
Yeah, you're going to see Jen run in now, like real upset, 'cause she was probably test driving your new Christmas present.
She's like, you don't need a Part 107 for this bad boy. Dustin, if I could just, to piggyback off what you said earlier, the next thing I'm super thankful for is my co-host, Dustin.
Steven.
You make me laugh so hard on this podcast almost every single week. The ridiculous things you say,
Almost.
the ridiculous situations you get yourself into, but mostly the ridiculous theories you have about the questions we find on Facebook. Really, really just put a smile on my face and a pep in my step.
You done?
I mean, I could
keep going.
I could talk
Keep
more
going.
about how great you are if you want me to. Watching you flounder through the political campaign, hearing about all your big flub ups, seeing you make huge mistakes with regard to copyright law and Kurt Russell, one of my personal heroes.
Personal friend of mine.
Yeah, you're friends with Kurt Russell?
Call him Daddy Russell.
And you've never introduced me.
You know, he has his own dance. It's called the Russell Hustle.
You know, Big Trouble
I
in
don't know
Little
if you knew
China
that.
is one of my favorite films of all time because of
I was
him.
there. I was there for that.
It came out before you were born. It came out before I was born.
Yeah, I know.
You were there in spirit form.
Exactly. That movie happened, and my parents conceived me watching it.
Ugh, no. It came out in 1984.
They
You had
rented
to
it
incubate
at
for 4
Blockbuster.
years.
Movies didn't come straight to DVD like they do nowadays, Steve. They took time.
I only know it
had
might
to
have come out
print the
before
VHSs.
1984. I just know it came out before I was born, and I was born in 84.
Because you're an old man.
I'm so old. Did I tell you the other day? This last weekend, I was shooting a wedding, Dustin, and I was sat at a table with some guests. I started talking to one of the guests, and one of the guests literally introduced himself to me as a millennial and then asked what the generation under baby boomers is, because that's what I'm from. Referring to me, like
he
that's
was
what you're
telling you
from.
what you're
Yeah.
from?
He's like, what generation are you from? Is it the one under baby boomers? What's that called again? And I was just like, my mouth was just like dropped, and I was like, oh gosh, I guess I have to tell this person I am a millennial, something I've hated relating myself to for my entire life. But how old do I look now? I've had children. Jen and I have had children. I have wrinkles all over. I'm balding.
What's the
Because of the
generation
children.
after millennials?
Gen Z, or people call them zillennials or zoomers.
Ooh, Zoomers is kind of cool sounding.
Zoomers is totally badass sounding, yeah. And I think somebody for a while was trying to get Gen Z to be called like the savior generation, because they're like the generation that'll save us from the millennials. But that was just some weird boomer who, you know.
So
Okay,
what's
boomer.
the age demographic for a Zoomer?
It's so like the guy who said that to me was
Or
8
the
years
birth
younger
year.
than me. Zoomers are going to be kids who are in college right now for the most part.
So like Lily would be a Zoomer?
Yeah. Yeah, your studio manager. She's a Zoomer. Did I tell you I was at like a I was shooting a conference where they were talking about like how you could reach out to different generations and stuff. And it was hilarious because they were talking, it was like a bunch of baby boomers and Gen Xers at the conference. And they were talking about millennials and Gen Z. And they listed off a bunch of traits for millennials. And everybody's like, oh, screw them, they're the worst, right? And then they listed off a set of traits for Gen Z, which were almost the exact same set of traits. And like all the baby boomers like, oh, they're great. They're the best ever. And I was like, are you idiots like listening to yourselves? Like, you literally just, because the only difference was Gen Z compared to millennial, and it was just like everything else, like underlying traits were very, very, very similar. And it was just like, oh man, yeah, we got to get some more millennials at our company. And it was just like, oh gosh, like it was a very frustrating thing to hear for me.
I bet.
Yeah, the ageism just runs rampant. So, and I mean, it happens on both sides. Like the whole "okay boomer" thing that has become a trend fad online, where young millennials make fun of old people by saying like "okay boomer" in response to like out of touch stuff that they say, and then boomers who are like, "that's a slur" in response to that. Like, well, I can't believe you'd call me boomer. That's ageism. That's a slur. All right, yeah.
I can't wait to be old.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to say so many terrible things about people older than me still. Can you believe all those people are dead? Not me. I'm 89.
That's right. I just want to be that guy when my phone goes off in an airplane and they're like, sir, we said you had to have that in airplane mode. And I'm like, airplane mode? What's that? And they're like, sir, you have to do airplane mode because everyone else in this plane has a cell phone implanted in their head, and you refuse to go implant, and you're still carrying around an iPhone 10.
You're like, no, oh, don't worry. I have a button I can press right here. It's an app. It'll fry all of them. Dustin the terrorist.
Dustin the terrorist. Last thing I'm thankful for is my beautiful children. I read a past client reached out to me today with a random email, and she asked me if I design t-shirts. I was like, wow, this is, real random. This was somebody who was a bridesmaid in a wedding, and we've since done their family photos 2 times, I think. And I was like, I wrote her back, and I'm like, I could probably design something. What do you need a t-shirt for? What are you looking for? And she wrote me back and was, shared with me that her youngest son was just diagnosed with leukemia. And I was like, oh my gosh. And so she wanted to get like some sort of a leukemia type support shirt for her and all of her family when they go visit him at Riley. And I was like, oh my God, like what an awful thing to hear. And it just made me sit today and think about my beautiful children and their health and well-being, and not everyone is as fortunate as I in that regard. And so not only am I thankful for my situation, but I want to be, mindful and praying for those out there, especially with the holidays, that might not be so fortunate.
Yeah.
Now that I brought everyone down a notch.
It's good. It's good. It's a holiday. Everybody was happy. They needed to be taken down a notch. They needed it. They needed it so bad. They hadn't gotten enough fights with their racist uncle already. They needed something else to really just take them down a notch. And I'm thankful you were here to do that.
Or conservative aunt.
Yeah,
depending on what political structure you fall into.
Yeah. Or their ultra green party aunt or uncle, or their ultra libertarian. Yeah. There are other parties, yeah, we know.
Their gun-toting, cousin.
They're ultra-communist. Who would be communist in this situation?
The teachers.
They're ultra-communist teachers. You think the government should pay you money? Jeez.
What are you thinking?
They're ultra-socialist senators.
Get that red for Ed out of here.
Oh, man. Dustin, I'm super thankful for my kids too. Jeez. I tried to lump it in when I said I was thankful for my wife, because I was like, they need to know they're important, but like, Do I need to waste one on them? Just joking.
No, that email today got me hard.
Dude,
I thought she was
had
gonna
to.
ask for T-shirts because she was like gonna start a landscaping business or something silly, and then she was like, "I just want shirts to wear to the hospital, just whenever you're free." And I'm like, "Yes, I will make shirts. I don't know anything about making shirts, but I will figure out a way to make
I'll
shirts."
make those
for
shirts.
you."
They're free of cost. They're coming to you.
Right.
They'll be there
100%.
tomorrow. Have you heard of
Right, so just
Zazzle?
give me your-
That's where people can buy wedding photo hangover gear.
I'm gonna send her wedding photo hangover shirts with leukemia ribbons printed on them.
Oh.
So I learned that the color for leukemia is orange. You know how like all the different colors for different, pink for breast cancer and all that stuff.
Dustin, thank you for sharing that story with us. If you're out there listening, just, the holidays can be rough. And if you don't have something that you're thankful for, because you listen to this podcast and it ruined your life. But seriously, if you don't have something you're thankful for, just know that Dustin and I are super thankful for you and for the fact that you're listening and that you're commenting on the Facebook group and on Twitter and everything. You guys really mean the world to us, and just seeing the great things that everybody's doing out there, it really brings a lot of happiness and joy to our lives as we get to meet more photographers, more people who are interested in photography, more creatives, more videographers, and we just get to witness what all the cool stuff you guys are doing, because you guys are doing so many cool things, and it's just amazing to watch as you guys go out and change the world. While we just make a stupid podcast where we do dick jokes every week, but hopefully those dick jokes help you change the world.
One question at a time.
Yeah. But thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Have a good one, guys. Have turkey on us.
You're sending people turkey now?
Digital turkey.
Digital turkey. We'll send you a turkey emoji. Dustin,
Absolutely.
have a great time with your family this Thanksgiving.
Hey, what's your favorite Thanksgiving dish, Steven?
Gluten-free stuffing. Send me recipes.
Are you guys having nothing but stuffing for what is this obsession with stuffing?
Stuffing is just traditionally a very gluten-filled thing, so I don't think I've ever had gluten-free stuffing or witnessed it, and I know it's like one of Jen and I's favorite things, so it would be awesome if we could find a recipe that we would both enjoy. That would be gluten-free.
The stovetop doesn't make a gluten-free one?
Stovetop? You go with
Yeah, I'm a
get the F
stovetop all
out.
the way.
So the past two Thanksgivings, Jen and I have opted to... This is going to sound terrible. We've opted to stay home and do Thanksgiving with just our family. We want to start like a tradition with our kids of like, hey, we all like make the food together and everything. And we just found like when we go up to like see my parents, it turned into
super stressful.
Well, it wasn't just seeing my parents. It was then my mom always does Thanksgiving with her brother and his wife and her sister and her husband. And so it'd be like we drive 2.5 hours up to see my mom, and then we drive another 1.5 hours to go to another Thanksgiving thing. And then the next day we'd turn around and have to drive 2.5 hours to 3 hours back to Jen's parents, and it's just so much driving. And it's like we need something where the kids can be happy and have fun and be just here. And we would have been okay with like just going up to my mom's if it was like if we didn't have to then drive another 1.5 hours after driving 2.5 hours, to go visit like the extended family. If it was like we could just do Thanksgiving with just my mom and my family, like my immediate family, we'd probably be cool with that. But it's just like, it's so much travel, it's so much time spent in a car, and it's like we only get like a very short amount of time off, and we want to make sure we spend that with our kids, doing things, making memories with them that'll like last a lifetime. So we have opted to stay home and make like all of our own food, like buy a turkey, make the turkey, all that kind of stuff. And it's become something I super look forward to over the last 2 years. Something I never thought I'd like to do, because it's so much better in, at other points in time in my life when somebody else made me all the food. But like,
right, 100%.
I actually super enjoy like making the turkey. Like that's kind of been like my thing the last 2 years was I'm the turkey guy. And so like
you always have been
yeah.
the turkey guy.
I've always been a techie. Yeah. But yeah. So making like the turkey, then making all the sides with Jen, and it's like dressing the turkey, stuffing it like with actual stuffing, like making the stuffing inside the turkey,
putting that hand deep inside that turkey.
Yeah. Got to get deep inside that turkey.
With your lens.
Mm-hmm. And so it's become like a tradition for us now. Just over the last 2 years, we've kind of been like, this is what we want to do. So now that we know Jen needs to have like more gluten-free options, I just want to find something stuffing-wise that's gluten-free, So yeah, send me your recipes. Even if they don't make it in time for Thanksgiving, I would love to get more gluten-free recipes. Doesn't even have to be stuffing, like just anything that you've found that's super awesome that's gluten-free, I'd love to know about.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
My favorite, I actually got to enjoy this past weekend because we did Thanksgiving last weekend with my side of the family.
Thanksgiving with your mom's side. You're still doing your dad's side and Corinne's family?
I come from a divorced family situation, so we get like 5 Thanksgivings on my side of the family.
That's so good. That's so good. Man, I could just eat turkey all the time.
We actually had ham. We did ham last weekend.
GTFO, bud.
And yeah, it's called Dr. Pepper ham. It's where you like take a ham, but then you like cover it in Dr. Pepper.
Oh my gosh, I'm throwing up. I don't want to yuck on your yum, but
it was actually pretty good. But anywho, my wife made my favorite dish because it was at our house, and it was her famous sweet potato casserole. Oh my goodness.
Oh, dude.
So
like marshmallows on top and...
No marshmallows on top. That's my grandma's recipe does the whole marshmallows on top thing, and we will have that at her Thanksgiving.
Ooh, what's Corinne's recipe like?
Corinne's recipe, have you ever been to Ruth Chris's and gotten the sweet potato casserole there?
No, I don't think I've ever got sweet potato casserole there.
It's essentially like mashed potatoes, but sweet potatoes, and then it's got hella butter and hella brown sugar and cinnamon mixed into it.
Okay.
And then it's got crunched up pecans on top.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
It's like a pecan brown
I'm
sugar
down for this.
kind of
I'm
combo. And then it comes in like, she serves it in like a, casserole dish. You kind of scoop it out and you got all that yumminess on the top.
See, Jen does a similar recipe, but instead of pecans on top, it's marshmallows on top. And that's become one of my favorite things. Growing up, I never did sweet potatoes or yams. Like it was apocryphal in my family. But as an adult, I get down on that stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny because nobody else, they're all like, I don't like sweet potatoes. And I'm like, this literally is better than pumpkin pie. It's so good.
Dude, sweet potatoes can be so much better. Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel you. Because, like, Jen has made, like, the sweet potato casserole stuff when we go up to, like, visit my family. And, like, the rest of my family's like, we've never done sweet potatoes before in our entire life. Why would we start doing it now? And I'm like, this is basically a dessert. Like,
Oh, I had it tonight before we started recording with, like, a scoop of ice cream on it.
Ooh, baby.
Like the leftovers.
That sounds real good. Oh, do you think, like... No, it probably wouldn't be good with hot fudge, would it? Ice cream, hot fudge, sweet potato. Probably not good.
I thought about sprinkling chocolate chips on it, but I thought that'd be too far.
Jen and I did gluten-free pizza tonight with a sweet potato crust, one of the Udi's crusts.
Sweet potato crust.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've not seen those. We buy a lot of the cauliflower crust at our house.
Yeah, see, cauliflower crust sucks. Sweet potato crust is real good, though. Actually,
interesting.
So the cauliflower crusts I've had have all actually been pretty good. Actually, I'm finding, like, now that we're eating more gluten-free stuff, that a lot of the gluten-free stuff just tastes better than the gluten stuff. Not gonna lie. I've been super surprised by it.
Because Blaze now has a gluten-free crust. And I thought it was okay. I mean, obviously, it's not as crispy as their other crust.
Yeah, it's a little floppier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Big and floppy. The way I like it.
And that was the disappointing thing, is it's not actually as big as their normal crust. So you're paying extra, and then you're getting a smaller pizza.
Yeah. Who makes their gluten-free crust, do you know?
I have no idea.
So, like, you can get Udi's. It's like UDI''S. And like they do like Pizza Hut and a bunch of other pizza places, if you get like their gluten-free crust, it's almost always Udi's. And then like Udi's actually makes like their own like take-home, preparing your own oven, like gluten-free pizzas as well. And
because I think Domino's has one too.
Yeah. Donato's has it too. All right. We could be up all night talking about gluten-free stuff, but Dustin, thank you so much for sharing this Thanksgiving episode with me. Have a great night, bud.
Yeah. Good night, bud.
So thankful for you. Bye.
Gobble, gobble.
Turkeys.
Putting that hand deep inside that turkey.
Got to get deep inside that turkey. Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs. Woo-wee!